Probably. I'm a fan of shady tours. As much as I can, I'll place us under a shade. So my friends, how many of you noticed when you were entering the bay earlier today, a huge fort on the left side? Most of you had the chance to see it out south in Permorro, one of the two major fortifications that were constructed in Old San Juan for the purpose of the defenses here in the Spanish colonial times here. Here we can see San Cristobal. We're gonna move a little bit more so we can have opportunity to take pictures of the fort here and there. Sadly, we're not visiting any of the forts today, but it's something that you can do in your free time afterwards. If you're interested, the entrance to the fort is $10 per person, and it includes the entrance to the both forts. And in case you come back to Puerto Rico on a hotel stay several days, the ticket is actually valid for 2 days, so you don't necessarily have. So gather around me here, my friends, and check out this map with me of the city of San Juan. And one more thing, make sure you don't have any of those birds right on top of you, okay? I don't know what you call them where you come from, but over here we call them rats with wings, okay? Same thing, right? Okay. Here we're seeing the map of the city. I always like to use this so I can have you guys take this better perspective of the history of San Juan. But actually, the first settlement of the Puerto Rico's capital, you can come a little bit more closer if you like. The first settlement for the capital Puerto Rico wasn't this city where we are today. It was more inland towards the other side of the bay. How many of you noticed the huge mountains on the other side, and that's Puerto Rico's interior? Not too far, but about 3 miles more inland was the first settlement established here by the Spaniards, by Juan Ponce de Leon. Founded the city of Caparra. Caparra is the name of a city in Spain. And once the Spaniards first arrived here, Juan Ponce de Leon designated the city of Caparra to be the first military base here in the city. Now, Puerto Rico, even though today we are United States territory, how many of you knew that, right? Yeah. Almost everyone, right? Awesome. We were once a Spanish territory for over 400 years. From Columbus' second voyage into the Western Hemisphere, into the Americas. We're seeing a huge statue of him, just right here. All the way to 1898. 1898 was the Spanish-American War, the war between the United States and Spain, and the moment when Puerto Rico passes on to become a USA territory from a Spanish colony. Today, us Puerto Ricans, we are United States citizens. We do not need a visa or a passport so we can gain access in and out on the US mainland. Same thing for you guys. If you come flying to Puerto Rico, you don't need a passport or anything like that. You don't have to go to customs or nothing like that. Currency here is the dollar, as you all might know already. Living standards are really not much different than from those of you who live in the US mainland. Us Puerto Ricans, we go do our groceries in Walmart, Costco, CVS, Sam's Club. We don't have Kroger's or Aldi's, not yet. Who knows if they might come across, right? Basically, we are US citizens. We enjoy most of the benefits being a USA citizen, access to Medicare, Social Security, etc. One of the main things that differentiates us, right, is that stands out is that we don't have, at least up to now, the voting rights. We can vote for up to the primaries, just not the general elections for the president, even though we pay state and federal taxes. But that's another subject for something else.
Why are you voting the primaries? Why, if you're not going to vote?
It's just established like that in Congress, yeah. We vote for our own general elections. Here, the main executive, like I mentioned already, is el gobernador, the governor. And it's the same thing as you guys. Every 4 years, we decide if we kick him out or we stay with him, and so on. Okay, going back to 500 years ago. First settlement, Caparra. When the Spaniards first arrived here, of course, they weren't alone. They encountered themselves with civilizations of natives. They were the Taino people. How many of you ever heard of Puerto Rico's indigenous, the Taino people? And they were at least, they managed to coexist with the Spaniards for the first 15 years. 1493, 1508. Long story short, and probably you might be aware of the history, what started to happen was the moment that the Spaniards started to use the natives as slaves to develop the lands here. Of course, the Tainos, they fought back, and they fought back hard. According to the Spanish chronicles, the city, the former capital of Caparra, was set on fire at least 3 times by the Taino natives. So the Spaniards in this moment wanting to distance themselves from the Taino tribes in the marshlands inland, and also considering the fact that 15 years had already passed since they first arrived here. And as you can imagine, word had already spread across the entire European mainland that there was new land found in the other side of the Atlantic Ocean. And as you might remember in the history as well, the Spaniards, they really didn't got along with that many other countries. They had more frenemies than friends, right? They were in constant rivalries over different matters and wars that already took place in the European mainland over different matters, like I just say, right? With the Danish, the Dutch, the British, the French, the Turkish, with a whole bunch of other countries. And they were expecting company. They're expecting these other countries to start crossing the Atlantic Ocean as well and claim land as well. So expecting future conflict, Spaniards decided to set a military base in the coast. Is where they found for this floating mass of land where we are right now, La Isleta de San Juan. This is your first time in Puerto Rico, everyone?
Yes.
Almost everyone? You've been here before?
Yes.
If you notice and if you remember, to access here to the old town, old San Juan, the old colonial town, to make it here, there's actually a couple small bridges just right here in the east part that connects from La Isleta, the islet of Old San Juan, to the rest of the Puerto Rican island, right? The main island. So, and I know we've always heard of Puerto Rico being mentioned as, constantly as like one sole island, the island of Puerto Rico. But Puerto Rico technically is actually an archipelago composed of over 100 different islands all clustered in together, similar to like La Isleta of San Juan. So, of course, it took over almost 150 years to complete the walls, right? Of course, those other battles that took place, pirates attacks that also took place in the shores of San Juan, but the Spaniards managed to successfully protect the city until 1898 Spanish-American War. Again, the moment when Puerto Rico passes on to become a USA territory. I just summed up 500 years of history in 10 minutes. How's that? So, my friends, any doubts, questions, comments with anything that I said so far? We're good so far. We're gonna take a quick 5 minutes so you can take your pictures here in the area of the fort, and then we're gonna continue down this street, okay? Come with me over here. Oh yeah?
Ooh, look at the fort. My God. Wow.
Take your pictures. I'll wait for you here in the gate. Hey my friends, this gave you a little sneak peek of the Fortaleza street. Like I mentioned, it's the main shopping street here in the city. San Juan, in the moment when the city was starting to become more industrialized and the power grid was first brought and the electrical service, here engineers couldn't figure out a way to successfully place the cable pole lines on the sidewalks because of the small narrow streets and all these balconies. So that's why you'll notice the cable pole lines on the rooftops of the buildings here. I'm gonna take you now, we're gonna walk through this small callejon, an alley, Spanish colonial alley. All the callejones have a name. This is Callejon del Cambarro. Not have that sticker, it's a $500